Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. It's time to talk about the do's and don'ts of Zangief. Now this video started as a general game plan, but after writing, I wrote some things. I have them right here. I decided to make this as do and don'ts plus a little bit of a guide. So if you're new to Zangief, this might be the best video to start with. Let's check out the buttons first. The Standing Light Punch is a really good button. It has only a little less range than Standing Light Kick, so you can technically use it for whip punishing. However, the best use is definitely as a stop sign. When people try to throw, dash forwards, or do something like that, you can stop them with this button. Also, you recover in time for OD Lariat or Lariat in some instances. Now we have a Standing Light Kick. This is mostly your go-to whip punisher. I don't particularly like the amount of damage you do for the amount of meter you have to waste. It is still pretty much the best whip punisher you have. You're likely gonna get a counter or punish counter. Either case, like if you're throwing buttons and you use Standing Light Kick, this will be your combo most of the time. You have to get used to that. Standing Light Kick, due to range and also to speed, will whiff punish most of the buttons in the game if you position yourself correctly. Crouching Light Punch is probably the best light overall. It doesn't have the range of a Standing Light Punch or Standing Light Kick, nor the speed of Crouching Light Kick, but overall it leaves you +1 little pushback, so you can do stuff like, for example, this into a button, or just one, even though this is not a frame trap. You can do one into a spine buster. So it is really good after drive rush. You're +5. If you hit someone with it and you're drive rushing, that is +10. And if that's a punish counter, that is +14. You do get a bunch of frames just by doing this alone. It's a great button, good range. You can definitely bother people with it. If you want to use a light and you want to abuse only one single light, Crouching Light Punch is it. Great button overall, recovers even faster than Standing Light Punch, also being 1 frame faster, so it has almost everything you want for a really good light. And finally, Crouching Light Kick. This is only a defensive poke, very hard to use in other scenarios. You can, however, go for something like a Drive Rush Crouching Light Kick, but overall this button is only to stop certain pokes and to stop certain pressures. You are not gonna use this button that much. Poke once, don't try to do this too often, because sometimes you whiff your Crouching Light Punch. Even your Standing Light Punch can whiff. So get used to just hitting people once and then do something like SPD or Micro Walk, so on and so on. But it's just a defensive poke. The medium punches, everyone's favorites. Standing medium punch is definitely the best one. It's a good drive rush tool. You're +2, so you can enforce some frame traps or situations. It has good range. It recovers relatively fast compared to the rest of the mediums. You have a lot of range with this thing. You can space yourself after a few lights into Standing Medium Punch to space trap the opponent. We're gonna talk about space traps in a few. It is overall a great button. It has a target combo that is guaranteed if you hit someone with a drive rush or punish counter or counter hit. It's around 2000 damage for just a target combo. They increased in Season 2 the range of the target combo, so it's easier to hit. But overall, it's a great button. You do have to get used to it. It's gonna be your main tool, I have to say. Medium Punch and Hell Staff share more or less the same idea. These two are mostly combo starters or combo fillers. It is very difficult to use them in other scenarios, especially now that other buttons have been buffed, but they still can get you some really interesting things. For example, Crouching Medium Punch on counter hit, a headbutt, that's a combo. On punish counter, you get a Standing Heavy Punch. Should you get used to whiff punishing with this button, you can get good damage and closer to the opponent, which is great. In the case of Hell Staff, the hitbox is so incredibly disjointed, you can whiff punish some things with this thing. For example, after poking, specifically after one poke, I have to say, but if you get this, it is, especially on hit, it is very difficult for the opponent to do something about it. They cannot jump, they cannot backdash. It's a really good tool. However, most of the time you're gonna use them as combo fillers, either for something like this, or Crouching Medium Punch into Crouching Medium Punch, Hell Staff. That's mainly the use of those two buttons, but you can definitely create some situations with them. Crouching Medium Kick is a really good poke. Again, same with the rest of the mediums. Even Stomp, it is incredibly disjointed, so you can punish some things very easily with this thing. The problem is the frames. It is a 9-framer, recovers in 18 frames, so one weakness you're gonna see for every single medium, maybe with the exception of Crouching Medium Punch and Stomp, they are very weak to the eyes and random jumps, also backdashes, so you have to be careful about your mediums. Crouching Medium Kick, it is still a pretty decent button. You can get some things out of it, and with the buffs to Season 2, you can get a drive rush or punish counter plus 7, which means this is a combo. So you can get that into Lariat or the Lariat and do serious damage. You can also get that from other situations like this one or Hellstab. That combos too. So it is a better combo filler. So you can definitely use it. For example, if you're whiff punishing from over here and you get, for example, like a crouching medium punch or a headbutt, it is probably the best tool you can use to just complete your combo. Because sometimes you can fall short of range with crouching medium punch. A low, so people have to block it crouching, which is also nice. So if they just want to walk away from Zangief after a certain group of pokes like this or this one, try to go for crouching medium kick in case they do so. Knee is a complicated button. Overall, it has been buffed. You're gonna be -3 most of the time, but that is the issue. It is hard to recognize when you're plus, 0, or minus. Sometimes you can be -3, you can get a +3. After dry rush, if you're close, you're gonna get a +1, but if you space it, you're gonna get more. You can even get a +8 on block. So it is a very complicated move to really tell people to go for it. You have to use it. That's the thing. You have to use it because it has low crush. So it goes over lows. However, when you do that, you get a punish counter. So you're going to be +5. Most of the time, you're going to be +5. That means your combo is going to be really short, like crouching light kick into standing light punch Lariat at best. Or if you really time it properly, especially after Oki situations, you can get a +7 to +8. So the combo is Hellstab, basically. It's hard to recognize. It is not an easy tool to use because sometimes you don't space yourself properly. So people can get a crouching medium kick, standing heavy kick, etc., etc. It is also very easy to DI unless you really space it properly and hit with the later frames. As much as I don't generally like this option, you have to go for it. So get used to getting into a space where you can go for knee, specifically against a few pokes on block. Get used to something like this so you always get the knee. Don't use it up close. Don't do something like this. That is way too risky. You have better options. But if you know how to space yourself and the opponent is not backdashing, that is also very significant, go for a couple of pokes on block and then the knee. Just be careful. It's not a fast tool, nor it is that strong as people say it is. And talking about other moves that people say they are strong, standing medium kick. Objectively, this move lost range. I mean, it's a fact. It lost range. It is still the longest medium attack Zangief has. The animation doesn't reflect it that much, but it is kinda difficult to whiff punish in certain scenarios because your hurtbox retracts. He doesn't have the biggest low hurtbox, so you can go over low sometimes. You take more or less like 75% of one drive gauge. You deal more damage on other mediums, like this is 700, 700, 700. This is 900, so you do get more damage. The issue is getting used to situations where you have to rely on this. Since the range nerf, it is now harder to hit someone with the standing medium kick. This could lead into situations where you whiff it, and if the opponent knows you're whiffing it, even though it is hard to punish, they can go for a sweep, a drive rush, because you recover in 19 frames. So even though the actual hurtbox is really good for Zangief, they can definitely get used to drive rushing. Basically, you have to take the pressure. If they're in the corner, you can certainly go for a few more standing medium kicks than in the neutral, but you do have to be careful with this button. If they're close to burnout, I would say a couple of these could really help you to achieve the burnout. Otherwise, be extremely careful. It is a super slow move, and it recovers also, as it should, because it's a long poke, so it makes sense to recover close to 20 frames. It can beat certain lows, spaced. It is still decent in some situations, but don't abuse it. And finally, even though I didn't write this, I totally forgot about Stomp. Well, what can I say about this move? It is pretty freaking slow at 9 frames, so that makes it extremely difficult to combo into. You're not gonna be in a range where you can use it. Sadly, this button is still awful, even though with the buff to the second attack, so you can cancel it into certain things. Imagine you cannot cancel super level 2 from the second hit. Spend it to, get some frames and have perfect meaties, but otherwise, I don't think this button has any meaning for Zangief. It is still something where Capcom needs to take a look and actually fix this thing. It just doesn't work. Now we can go into heavies. Standing heavy punch, oh baby. One of my favorite buttons, long poke, safe. You can increase the range with dry rush, and that is +1 without charging it. In fact, one thing I have to say, don't charge it that often. I think this button is really good just by pressing it or holding it for a few frames. People are getting used to perfect parry this thing. As you can see, it takes a significant amount of drive. Since it is a heavy attack, it's lower, it has more range than standing medium kick. If you're not sure what button to use and you're far from the opponent, usually standing heavy punch will connect. The range is very, very, very insane. Even though it is 16 frames, that is more or less enough to punish certain mediums and heavies. Don't be scared to go for it if the opponent is whiffing. Either they're gonna have to block it or you're gonna get a punish counter. Crouching heavy kick. This is just very specific. It is a whiff punisher. Don't go for it as I've seen people go, like a couple of pokes and they go for the sweep. Even though you can space it, this is so easy to just backdash or jump. It's such a Hail Mary sweep, so don't abuse it like that. Use it as you should, which is a whiff punisher. It is pretty fast, 12 frames, faster than other buttons, like faster than headbutt, for example. Almost all the time, you're gonna be able to whiff punish with sweep, and that is a guaranteed punish counter, obviously, if you whiff punish with it. That allows you to go into a very difficult safe jump, but you can do it. Standing heavy kick is just an anti-air, very situational anti-air in the corner, punish counter, and that's it. I do have to say, thanks to Glick, you can actually get, since this forces standing on counter hit, if you really know how to position yourself with health staff, you can go into this, and that's a legit combo. That doesn't. So that is one use you can get out of health staff into standing heavy kick. However, if the health staff is a punish counter, you do get a headbutt, so as a whiff punish is kinda dubious if it's better to do this rather than this, but at least you have one use for it. It is mainly a punish counter tool. Corner anti-air into OD Bosch Dynamite. Crouching heavy punch, another niche anti-air. It is very difficult to use as anti-air. As a whiff punisher, it's also pretty difficult. Against certain sweeps in the game, it's pretty good. And if you're perfect parrying a special or a medium, certainly will have enough time to go for crouching heavy punch into drive rush, knee, health stab, lariat, which is the usual combo. Good corner carry. Otherwise, I don't think this button has any meaning. In the corner, you can get some really good combos with little meter, but that's it. It's very situational. Headbutt does everything. This is the move you want to use most of the time when you're close. Even though it's 14 frames, the amount of pressure you get is insane. If you're close with this +4, you can get a grab. You can mash it, by the way. You can mash the grab and you're gonna get it on block. On hit is +7, so now it allows you to go into health stab immediately. I recommend getting extremely comfortable with the timing, because for some reason you can whiff it sometimes. Be careful. It happens to me, even though I've been playing Zangief for a while. Get used to the timing. It is a fantastic move. If you're spaced, you might not be able to go into regular throws, but you can use SPD. It is +4, so you can use SPD, light SPD, medium, heavy, OD, depending on the range. Depending also on the range of headbutt. If you hit someone with a second, third active frame, you can get a +6 instead of a +4. Here you have even more frames, so you can frame trap with crouching medium punch. It's just a fantastic tool. It's Miatana dropkick, the grounded dropkick. Also a punish counter tool in the corner. You can go over certain fireballs like Jiri. That's it. There's not much to say. Extremely punishable. You can go over lows. But obviously, since you can go over Yuri's. But that's it. It's not a good tool. Also, the air dropkick. This is mostly for fake stuff. You're not gonna get many things from this. And also for certain punishes, you do get a bunch of damage. However, with the buffs to headbutt, I would argue it's just better to go for driver's headbutt than to try to do something like this. If you're really close to the middle of the screen, when you hit someone with the punish counter, charge dropkick, they will bounce in a way where you cannot follow up. Be careful with this move. It's not great. Use it for certain fake stuff like that one, or just dash, or backdash even. Because you cannot jump. You can use buttons, but you cannot jump. So if you do it and you hold up, Zangief doesn't jump immediately, so be careful about that. You can backdash, forward dash, parry, everything that is motion based, except for jumping, you can do it. Wheel kick, very easy to space now. You can still get hit out of the start of a wheel kick, so if you go for a wheel kick up close, they can mash a crouching medium kick and they will punish you, or crouching medium punch, so be careful. It's not a fantastic move, but it is a somewhat safe overhead. You can space it after SPD, for example, specifically light SPD. In Burnout, this becomes really annoying to punish, because you're gonna be -3, -4 if you space it correctly, or you can dry rush it and be -1. Just super annoying for the opponent, because there you can go for super level 3, like a very cheeky one. Otherwise, this move has some niche uses, like against Blanca or Honda. They're in the air, because technically the first few frames are anti-air, ready for wheel kick. Just be careful with this move. It's 22 frames. Oh, before I forget, punish counter. In the corner, it deals a really high amount of damage as a punish counter. In the middle of the screen is debatable if you want to use it, because sometimes you can whiff it. For sure, you can go for it, punish counter, especially if you're close, punishing shoryukens or supers. Just be careful, because it is 22 frames, so not all supers can be punished by this thing, and some shoryukens, some reversals like jackknife can go over the wheel kick for some reason, so be careful. The recommendations is just to take a step back and then go for it if you're punishing supers or reversals, just in case. The air headbutt is the final heavy. It is a very interesting move. It has an extremely fantastic hitbox, but the range is awful. In the corner, you can use it for jumps if you feel they're gonna. However, you have to set it up. If you go for a slow move like this and then you try to use it, you're gonna get hit in the air, so you have to jump before. Thus, if you want to set up the jumping headbutt, press buttons or just poke with lights, specifically the crouching light punch, so you can have enough time to react should they jump. You can go into regular borscht now or OD borscht. I would suggest going for regular borscht unless you have enough meter to spend. Even though for some reason I totally forgot about the air normals, we're gonna check the air normals. I don't think things have changed for the jumping normals, so the only thing I can add is lower medium punch does have more range than jumping heavy kick. That's why so many Zangief players are doing something like this. Where the plus frames are interesting. We're gonna get a +8 to +8 compared to that one, and on hit sometimes you can get +12, but it's not all the time compared to heavy kick where you get a consistent +12. If you hit a little bit deeper, you can get the +15 for the headbutt. If you hit someone with jumping force medium punch in the air, the jumping medium punch, you're likely gonna get immediately into hell stab or the lariat. I'd say your best jumping is still medium kick. This one does almost everything you want. But if you're really far, like over here, I'd suggest try and do something like that, because it certainly works, especially against fireballs. But don't be shy to use jumping medium punch. It is actually pretty decent. Just be careful, because you have to hit very deep to the jump. For example, here. See? So hit it very late into the jump if you really want to use it. That doesn't happen with medium kick, where you can be like, you can mistime your jump and still get it. Well, that doesn't happen with jumping medium punch. For combos and safe jumps, usually jumping heavy punch is the one you want to use. Also, this one is the easier to go into headbutt. So still, I'd say the best jumping if you hit someone or if they are in a position where they're recovering from something. This is gonna be the best. If you want to deal the highest amount of damage after stun, this is the combo, jumping neutral headbutt. You have to get used to the timing, so you can get this one. Every other button deals less damage. This is 100 more, so that's something. You have to get used to it if you get the stun. And if you want to stop people from jumping that you're really close, back jump light punch and back jump light kick are really good. Against almost everyone in the cast, I have to say you can do a fussy back jump light kick, catch them. Although the damage is so bad, you really need to make sure you're gonna kill with this thing. Against Zangief, Marisa, and I think Lily, you can do a back jump medium kick and you will hit them. I think Honda also. I have to check. But yeah, that's something you can do. Otherwise, this generally kills if they are low on health. This one, Body Splash, is your best cross-up, and at the same time, it's pretty awful. If they know how to stop it, like walk to the other side, you will whiff it. And this one, for some reason, has 4 extra recovery frames. Absolutely easy for the opponent to punish this thing. It works, it's fantastic. It is a frame trap almost all the time. Since you are so close, you can delay it. But the hurtbox hitbox combo is so bad. It is so easy to be stopped in the air with something random like a standing light punch, or they just wait or backdash or whatever and they punish you. So don't rely on this that much. My recommendation is forward jump without pressing buttons, and sometimes go for the body splash in the corner specifically. Special moves and supers. Let's cover every single special and super he has. Let's start with SPDs. SPDs are a 5-frame command grab. Depending on the punch, the range changes. Almost every single time you wanna drive rush after SPD. Here things are a little complicated. Depending on what they do, you can either whiff something or you can get DI'd, or perfect parried. I think that generally the best option is the standing medium punch. However, you never are sure. Again, as always, my recommendation is drive rushing and not doing anything, at least at first. You can also do the classic micro walk wheel kick if you don't have meter. Just be careful. Everything has a response from the opponent. D is the one that deals the most damage. You block a -5, -6, and you're close enough for OD SPD, like a drive reversal. That one is the move that deals the most. First of all, the light one is 30 frames of recovery. It has 2 extra or 2 less frames, you want to see it like that. You recover in 30 frames, which is better for Zangief. So you have 2 extra frames. So drive rushing after a light one is generally better for those 2 frames. That is the only one that has that. And it's the SPD you're going to use the most, due to range. It has a really good range, especially if they're pressing buttons and you get used to whiff punishing with this thing. You're going to get a lot of damage. However, your Oki is bad. Burst Dynamite is your combo ender after a few, well, combos. Like super level 2, you can go for it to end the combo with it. After a few juggles, like in the corner, standing heavy kick into OD burst. So this is your mostly combo ender and guess jump tool. If you want to guess a jump, use the OD one because you have more range. Here the Oki is, again, horrendous. You're plus 19. If you drive rush, be extra careful. You don't have enough frames to do something crazy, so just drive rush and maybe wait, or go for light SPD or crouching light kick. In this version of the game, Season 2, you can get it after a few punish counters. You can get the regular burst or regular neutral headbutt into the burst. You can buffer it, regular burst, and you don't need the OD one. But most scenarios, you don't have enough juggle points, so you're gonna need to use the OD one. Thunderstorm. This is a weird move. You can parry certain things that previously you were not, like Street Fighter 5. Like you can parry knees, everything that connects, everything that is a kick, and that kick is not airborne and connects to the upper body side of Zangief, you will parry. That includes drive reversals, some knees, some command normals. He can parry a lot of stuff. However, jumping attacks, low attacks, they don't work. The Oki after this is horrible. You end up like to the other side of the screen. You do get decent damage, I guess. The problem is this move is extremely slow. When you're in Burnout, this doesn't work. So it's just a weird guess. It works against certain specials like Bison Scissor Kicks, Donkey Kick from Ryu, some overheads are kicks. Kimberly has a lot of kicks. You can perfect parry almost all of them. You can parry the sway of DJ. So it has some niche uses, but overall this move doesn't work that well. Don't use it. Unless something is very obvious, don't use it. Siberian Express. Now, Siberian Express is weird too. Another weird move. First of all, you have a far version, which has armor. It has, I think, 2 points of armor when you start and when you start moving. You have a close version, which is significantly faster. The issue is, even though it is fast, the opponent almost always can jab you out or jump out or even backdash out of the Siberian Express, which makes this move really difficult to land. Have some ways of landing it. All of them require spending meter, like drive rush, crouching medium punch, and it has to be on block. That one works. If on hit, you need a punish counter with certain moves. It is very difficult to land. It is one of those moves you use sometimes just to catch the opponent doubting themselves. However, if you do land one, the Oki is actually pretty good. Here you're plus 29. That means if you dash, you're plus 7, which is decent. If you drive rush, you have light SPD, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick, knee. You have a really good set of options should you drive rush after a Siberian Express. Or you can be cheeky. I do this sometimes. Don't abuse it because it's not entirely safe. You can do that. Lariat, combo ender, and anti-air. The regular one is super slow and very inconsistent. I would recommend Lariat for jumps that are very obvious, like they're jumping from there, and you really see the jump and you're 100% sure you're gonna hit them, use Lariat. If you're over here, things become very dicey. Otherwise, OD Lariat is the better option. I don't particularly like anti-airing with OD Lariat, but sometimes you have to. You cannot rely on the regular lariat, because it's, first of all, it is 15 frames. Sometimes you don't hit people even though you do the regular version. So if you're unsure of someone jumping and you don't know how to counter, use OD lariat. Don't risk it. Spend the 2 meters. Alternatively, you can use perfect parry if you get really good with it. And usually you have enough frames to go into Spinebuster or Hellstab Lariat. Russian suplex. Ooh, I like this. I wish this move was faster or easier to land. Right now, it is difficult to justify. Some people like it because the OD version builds a lot of meter. And by a lot, I mean a lot. That is significant. That is a lot of meter. The regular one is fine. That's like 50%, which is roughly, I think, the same of SPD. A little bit more than SPD. You have good Oki. You can drive rush after a Russian suplex, either the regular version or the OD version. From that drive rush, you can go into standing medium punch, medium SPD, or knee, or do nothing. Again, you can do that too. But the side switch, the distance, it is a move you're rarely gonna use. You have to really calculate how good it is to end the round with Russian suplex. Because let's say the opponent, let's put this situation here. The opponent has 1 super meter. You have 0. If you go for the Russian suplex, you build them like 40%, 45% of their next super meter, while you're building close to 75. A really sure super level 2 for second round. And in some cases, you can build super level 2, but you allow them to build 3. Be very careful. I don't necessarily recommend ending the round all the time with Russian suplex, because if you get used to it, that's going to be muscle memory, and you're going to build them a lot of meter if you're not aware. If you need the meter, they have more than you, just end the round with SPD. Don't risk it. End the round with this thing. That's fine. Or with a combo, if possible. It's better for you to have a little bit more meter than them, and them not having super level 2 or 3. Because some characters like Rashid, if they have super level 2, it's gonna be a big difference for second round. So don't end your combos or your rounds with Russian suplex all the time. Evaluate if it's really needed for you. Super level 1, weird anti-air, excellent Oki, situational, combo under. You land 1, drive rush after it. You have medium SPD or light SPD or OD, and standing medium punch, the classics. Super level 2, extremely slow. If you don't press anything, you go into the jackhammer +5. If you hold the stick to either direction or the pad, or the direction really, you do a different version. The forward one is only +1, no Oki. The back one, you are still +5, but you are far from them. From here, the Oki is extremely limited. If you do the held back version, this one, you can go for a knee. That knee, as you can see, is +7 on hit. Plus on block, I think it's +3. However, if they're pressing crouching light punch, they will stop this. So don't rely on that. My best recommendation for Oki after any of the versions except for the forward one is crouching medium kick. Don't risk it. If you hold the button, any punch for super level 2, you get the juggle version. From here you can dash. And that has Oki. You can use a Hellstab super level 1. And you have Oki. In the corner you can be cheeky, you can use super level 1 after standing heavy kick. There you go. That is technically the highest damage you can get out of the meterless super level 2. Or you can go into the safe jump. I've seen some weird stuff. I don't recommend anything, what I've seen. Some people like to dash and knee for some reason. E +12. This is not a good idea at all. If you're +12, that's great, I guess, but you're sacrificing so much damage for super level 2. I don't think it's worth it. Super level 3. The game says it is 7 frames. That is not the case. It is 6 frames, so you can punish a -6 like a dry reversal. So don't trust the game. The grab is actually 6 frames. Usually your combo ender after OD Lariat. However, One thing I want to point out is for you to be creative with your super level 3. This is something I always tell during my streams. You don't have to use it as a combo ender all the time, or as a wake-up tool if you're being pressured. You can be creative with it. For example, buffer it after certain buttons that might not make sense for the opponent, like crouching medium kick. This is usually -2. The Siberian Lab Classic. Super level 3. Or be interesting with it. You can dash super level 3. You can use other moves that might not make much sense for the opponent to think you're going to super level 3, like crouching light kick. Biggie does this all the time. Or you can even use crouching light punch or standing light punch. Like the ones I recommend the best are the ones who recover fast, like standing light punch or crouching light punch. Drive rush, super level 3, so on and so on. So don't wake up with it all the time, nor use it as a combo ender all the time. Try to be creative with your super level 3. It is a grab at the end of the day, so they have to jump it or backdash it. Think of it as another grab you have, because that's technically what it is. Let's talk more about the game plan now. Footsies. Which buttons should you use for footsies? The most common ones are crouching light punch, crouching medium kick, and standing medium punch. These ones are the most common if you're relatively close to the opponent and you want to bother them. Probably these are the ones you're gonna use. Very, very effective together, specifically if you're starting the pressure with crouching light punch. For example, this one. If they press a 4-framer, they're gonna get a punish counter or counter hit, depending on the button. Same with this one, if you space yourself after a couple of ones. Very annoying to punish this. They can backdash, however, they can also jump. If you want to stop a jump after a few crouching light punches, use a standing medium punch. This will reset them in the air. So you have to get used to a couple of pokes and the medium punch just in case they jump. Otherwise, as you know, you're here still in SPD range, light SPD or medium SPD, depending on the range. But these ones are the ones you're gonna use the most just to bother people up. Now, as Whiff punishers go, Zangief actually has a lot. You have, for starters, standing light kick, as we talked about. Standing light kick, sweep, also a good Whiff punisher. And heavy punch, excellent. You can still Whiff punish with this thing. Like if they go for a medium and you're Whiff, you can absolutely take damage and drive from this. And you can also Whiff punish with headbutt, specifically if you, again, set it up with a few lights. Like something like boom, or micro walk, headbutt. So you can Whiff punish if they're pressing buttons, and if you see the button whiffing, obviously. Like you can do here, you can stay here without doing anything. And if they go for, I don't know, a standing heavy punch, you can boom, Whiff punish later with headbutt. Frame traps. The most obvious one is headbutt, +4. So from here, a grab, hell stab, and crouching light punches. Stop 4-framers. Remember, frame traps are only good if the opponent really wants to do something. If they don't, you have to be very careful because you're going to be minus, except if you use crouching light punch. So if you use something like this, you're going to be -3. And this, again, also -3. So be careful. And if they're perfect parrying or mashing the parry, you also need to be extra careful because they can parry this one and also this one. So for those cases, you have to mix it up. You have to go for Spinebuster if you're close, SPD if you're far if you want. Overall, this is a good frame trap, all things considered. Drive Rush has a few options for you. The most common one and the one I recommend the most is Drive Rush Standing Medium Punch. From here, you have a frame trap with the target combo. If you do this, that stops 4 frames. The same things apply for every single frame trap, by the way. They can perfect parry, or they can just block it. If they block the second hit, you're gonna be -6. But you're generally so spaced, it's very difficult for them to do something. So don't be scared to do this a couple of times. Even sometimes do the whole target combo, just because. However, as you know, the last hit is very punishable. Sometimes you have to use it with Zangief. Still, a +2. SPD, you are generally going to be in the SPD range, light SPD or OD SPD. If you're really close when you hit this, you're going to be in range for a regular throw, aka go for Spinebuster. So it's pretty decent. My recommendation, as always, is to do it, wait to see if they do something. Sometimes go for the target combo, and sometimes go for SPD or regular grab. If you want even more frames, you have Crouching Light Punch for the +5. From here, you can go into Crouching Medium Punch. Sometimes it's Whiffs, I have to be honest. Generally, I prefer Hell Stab, because you can heal confirm into Lariat. Overall, with the +5 you get from the Crouching Light Punch, you can trade with 4 frames with Standing Medium Punch. That is +7. If you use Crouching Medium Kick, you trade, and that is +8. Depending on the distance, again, you can go into Crouching Medium Punch or Hell Stab. Just be careful, because trades usually space more than other kind of combos. The final one is Crouching Light Kick. I'm just adding this one just in case, because this is a 4-framer. Technically, you're gonna be +1. You can make it +3 or +2 depending on how you hit your crouching light kick. However, it is so strange to get the +2, but sometimes it happens. Let me see if I can do it. There we go. I hit the +2. Most of the time you're gonna be +1. With the +1, well, they can match a 4-framer, and your only option for that is another crouching light kick. Otherwise, you can go into the standing light punch. This has no gap. Usually this has a 2-frame gap. With this, you have none. So this is a legit +2, and you're gonna be close enough for light SPD or medium SPD. Or you can just maybe wait there or use standing medium punch, because the spacing is pretty decent. I would recommend against doing this. Just do this. Take the +2. It's just better. The anti-fireball game. Well, the first one is super level 2. 18 frames. The range is awful, but you have to use it against fireballs. Perfect parry, also, that's a thing. OD lariat if you're close. This only works against characters who have a reasonable hurt box, so it's not Akuma. But you can whiff punish some fireballs with this thing. Mainly Ken, Luke, and Ryu. A standing medium punch to trade with the fireballs, also very helpful. And a slightly charged heavy punch or drive rush also works. Remember to charge it slightly in case they go for a single hit fireball. Against specifically Yuri, and maybe in the future if we have more characters who have a lower fireball, you can go over it with Katana dropkick, knee, or wheel kick. Keep that in mind just in case you are fighting a Yuri. And since wheel kick is now relatively safer to what it was, I mean it is safer to what it was, still pretty slow, you can sometimes catch Yuri throwing the fireball from full screen with this thing. Space traps! Ooh baby, I love the space traps. The common one, and the one I use the most, is 2 crouching light punches into a standing medium punch. This works wonders when people are mashing their 4 frames. Does not work against, you can see this is a 9 frame and this is only +1. Technically I'm leaving 8 frames over here, so be careful with the crouching medium kicks. This is not something you have to abuse, so again, you have to mix it up. Headbutt into 2 crouching light kicks makes crouching medium kicks whiff. If they whiff the crouching medium kick, you can definitely go for something, another headbutt, or standing medium punch. This one is weird, I don't use it very often, but it works. Drive rush, crouching light punch into crouching medium punch. This is a frame trap, but it also spaces the headbutt. If you switch them up and you get the crouching medium punch drive rush, crouching light punch, this spaces the headbutt for a +6. This one is something I've been thinking about. I'm gonna add it here in case some of you want to use it. The crouching light punch spaced into another crouching light punch is extremely good. This micro step I'm doing right now, it is extremely powerful. And you can replace that with hell step. If they're mashing a 4-framer, you will catch them with the hell step. So you can do another crouching light punch or hell stab. This spaces the hell stab very well, and if they're mashing again, you get the punish counter. And the final one, pretty common, 3 crouching light punches. Well, you can use crouching light kicks. I prefer crouching light punches. Going to a +3 knee. If you want to do this on hit, you have to use 4 crouching light punches. On block, just 3. And then you go into a +3. Oki tools and how to get Oki. The common one, the one you're gonna use the most, OD lariat, drive rush. I'm gonna tell you something about Oki and Zangief. You either go for a strike, and that strike is usually standing medium punch. You go for a grab, which is probably spine buster or SPD. That's a mix-up. Most of the time you're gonna use standing medium punch. In some specific cases, you can go for headbutt, knee sometimes, or just one of your grabs. Spine buster if you're close, or SPD. Lariat in the corner. You can wait. You can dash. A spine buster. You can dash and be +11, which means this is a frame trap. You can dash with drive rush, and you can loop this. You have so many frames after spine buster, you can use a drive rush headbutt even if you want. Less frames than spine buster, you still get Oki over here, +22. Also, the classic, if you hit spine buster, punish counter, you can use this, probably the only use for stomp, just to kill frames and be either +3 to +5. I haven't talked that much about the other throws, because to be honest, spine buster is such a good throw that it's hard to tell you about the other ones. Let's do that. First of all, these two throws are really shiny in the corner or when you want to side straight throw. It has been nerfed. You're still +8, but you're far. You have to delay your SPD if you want to go for one. Otherwise, you can wait there for a jump or press standing medium punch. Crouching medium punch is a legit melee right away, so you can go for it if you want. But you don't have enough plus frames. If you want more plus frames, crouching throw, the brain buster, is actually +14. And while you seem to be far, because you are, compared to the other throw, you have more frames. From here, your options are a standing heavy punch, which would beat mashing. You can micro walk, SPD. You can also wait there, or you can drive rush. So either one of the two throws really help you to establish presence. It'll depend on what you want. You can go for back throw or brainbuster down throw, and both of them will allow you to be really well spaced in the corner. Easy sweep. This is +45, so it's not an auto-time safe jump, but you have to kill a couple of frames. You need a +43, so you need to kill those 2 frames with a micro step. It takes time, but you can definitely do something like that, and that's a side jump. This thing is really good, super level 1. In terms of Oki, you can just dash, MB +7, or drive rush for a medium SPD, or standing medium punch, or knee. The safe jumps, this one. That is a safe jump. Be careful with Lily, Honda, Marisa, and JP. Those guys have options to beat that thing. The sweep I already told you about. It is +45, so you need to kill 2 frames and then jump forwards with heavy punch. Final one, the classic. At this point, you can use super level 2 and do this. That is also a safe jump. Again, the same names apply. Honda, Marisa, JP, and Lily. Be careful with those guys. You can fake the jump, just do a regular jump, or fake it with dropkick and block. If they wake up mashing perfect parry, they will perfect parry your jumping attacks, so be careful. Punish counter combos, or I should say punish counter tools. There's not much to say. This one is good. SPD. Whale kick. Really good for punish counter. Dropkick if you're close. This one. Reverse headbutt. Probably the highest damaging one if you really want to go into super level 3. You technically recover the drive meter you're using for the drive rush, as you can see here. Technically with the second headbutt into Hell Stab, you're gonna recover it, so it's a really decent combo. The airdrop kick, be careful, again. This can make some things weak. And crouching heavy punch, it works. This is usually the combo you're gonna go for. Even though I don't have them written down, let me show you the attacks or the combos in the corner. So if you get the Smetana dropkick, you can dash, go for super level 3 or SPDs or headbutt. I usually do this one if I know I'm gonna end the round because it's around close to 4.2k damage. You can use a headbutt into super level 1 if you want. Here you keep the Oki, it's good. If you absolutely want to end the round with super level 3, 5.5k. The other options, whale kick. Watching heavy punch. Also pretty good. This is the one I don't recommend, but I've seen some people do that. I don't like it. Go for the other ones. The first one is the classic back jump. Lariat, hold forwards, Hell Stab, super level 1. You can skip the Hell Stab and go straight into super level 1. It's fine, you do less damage, but the Oki, again, the Oki super level 1 is pretty good. The other one I told you about, neutral jump. That is the highest damaging meterless combo. If you really want to end the round, just waste the meter. You can spend more meter if you want, if you have it. One thing I haven't mentioned in the corner is what happens if you land at the eye. This. Hell Stab into OD Borscht. OD Lariat, OD Borscht. That's one thing you can do. My favorite is either crouching medium punch or Hell Stab into super level 1. I think this is better. Good damage, and again, Oki. And okay. It's something because I forgot. When the opponent is in Burnout, you don't have a lot of things to do. You don't have a lot of options. What you do get are free frame traps. Almost everything is going to be plus. This is going to be +5, so you can technically abuse this way more. You can use this without that many issues. You can frame trap without the drive rush. That's mostly what I want to tell you. You don't have to drive rush if they're in Burnout, because everything is gonna be plus. So don't get that crazy. The drive rushes, you don't need to. Just use one to get close, and if they're in Burnout, just go crazy with your buttons, because almost everything is a frame trap. You might be wondering, well, what do I do when I am in Burnout? Well, that is a great question. The answer is nothing. Really, your best option is standing heavy punch. You start holding the armor of the standing heavy punch. That is a 4-framer. That is possibly the best thing you can do. The second best option is super level 2. Yeah, crazy. Have to go for it. For example, if you go into a punch tag into the eye immediately, you can go into super level 2 for the side switch. And the final one is super level 3. I know it's not the best. It's very difficult to handle once Zangief is in Burnout. You're so limited. You have to hold. You have to take everything until you can get a super level 2, 3, or just maybe if there's a very, very, very easy to see the eye, you can go into the standing heavy punch. And don't hold it fully, because sometimes you can whiff it, so hold it enough for the punish. One thing that is notable is if you start hitting the opponent, you do recover faster. So if for some reason you can take the offensive, just throw a couple of lights, at least to recover a little bit faster. Go for SPD or a super over here. It will help you to recover faster your meter. But sadly, Zangief in Burnout is really bad. It's the closest to a checkmate you will get with Zangief for your side. If you do a drive rush that has a gap, they can respond. So if you want gapless attacks, my recommendation is light kick into crouching light kick, crouching medium punch into crouching medium punch, hell stab into standing medium punch, headbutt into crouching light punch. Those are the ones I recommend the most. If you want to frame trap someone, you do have options. Let's put the Ryu to do the crouching light punch. Here, it is a 4-frame. Yep. So here you can test your frame traps. The most common one by far is standing light kick into crouching medium punch. Have other ones that are more niche, like crouching medium punch into standing medium punch. Otherwise, I think this is the best one. And now, the final part, the do's and don'ts. Let's go for the do's, the things you have to do with Zangief. Use crouching light punch. This is the start of your offense. Everything revolves around how close you are and how many crouching light punches you hit. This is excellent. Get used to poking people with this thing. Sometimes do nothing. Forwards. Even sometimes you have to go crazy and dash, backdash, crouching light punch. This button is so important for your game plan. Start your offense with this thing if you're close. Have whip punishers. This is not necessarily the best whip punisher, but you have whip punishers. Also stops drive rushes. A spine buster when you're +2, sometimes +1 if you want to be that Zangief. Usually in +2, +3 scenarios, even +4. So what do I mean by that? This is +5, but you can delay the throw. This one, you can grab them. Even this one, grab them. I would recommend going for Spine Buster way more than any other throw in the game. So that basically means SPD. If you're in range and you're +2, try to go for Spine Buster. If they backdash, you're gonna be minus, but not necessarily punishable. If you go for something like the standing medium punch, you're gonna be -5, but still lights won't hit you here. So you're relatively safe. If they forward jump, also an issue with Zangief, you have enough time to recover with OD Lariat. I don't think regular Lariat works here, or super level 1, so go for OD Lariat just in case. So Spinebuster technically is really low risk for a huge reward. Use this command normal. It is pretty good to set things. My only advice is don't go for something like this, like round 1, you go for 3 headbutts. Now you're asking for someone to punish you with something. So you're using a 14-frame move. Every time you're doing this, that is 10 frames of a gap between headbutts. So yeah, try to be smart with it. A couple of lights, you don't do anything. Headbutt, you don't do anything. Headbutt, you SPD them. Something like that. Drive rush, standing medium punch, and heavy punches. These two are gonna save your life. If you have no idea how to get in, Drive rush, do nothing. Sometimes drive rush, hold the heavy punch a little bit, or just go for drive rush standing medium punch. You're gonna be plus, and you're gonna be not necessarily close, but you're gonna establish your presence. Use sweep as a whiff punisher. The issue with sweep is a lot of players just sweep out of nowhere, like they want to do something like boom, boom, sweep. That is not how you have to use sweep. Sweep is a whiff punisher. It's not made to poke people with. You have to whiff punish with sweep. Get used to seeing people and see what they do. They throw a fireball and you block it, and then they throw a standing medium kick. Then it's a good moment to sweep them to get the punish counter. What you want is the punish counter. And once you get the punish counter, just knee and you're gonna be plus 11, or you can dash crouching light punch and be plus 8. Walk and block. Walk and block. This is like a core element with Zangief. Walk, block, walk, block. Don't try to be that aggressive. You're playing a grappler with really slow buttons. You're not playing Jiri, you're not playing Akuma. Your SPD is your 5-framer. You don't have a 5-framer. You have a 4-framer and a 6-framer. That means this is your 5-frame poke. What does that mean? If the opponent is -5, -6, this is usually your punish. And consider the light one as another poke, which is weird. But that is how it has to be with Zangief now. What do I mean by that? Don't go necessarily all the time for a tick grab, which is something pretty common with Zangief players. Like they really want to do like 2 hits SPD all the time. If they whiff, they're whiffing and you don't know what to use and you feel something like it's either too slow for the poke they're using, like a light, just walk back and SPD. Think of it as a 5-framer. Let's say you're poking someone and you're waiting, they don't do anything, and micro walk, SPD. Not necessarily because it is a grab, it's because that would be your 5-framer. If you had one, you would probably poke like that. And use SPD defensively and also as a poke, quote unquote. The heavy ones and medium ones and OD require a little bit of a setup because they have less range than light one. But think about, again, light one as a possible poke. Because consider this, I'm over here and I can grab them with SPD, which is basically the range of some 5-framers in the game. Use your 5-framer SPD against drive rushes. You can stop them with crouching light kick or crouching light punch most of the time, even standing medium punch. But sometimes you have to use SPD because you don't have enough frames. If you don't know what to do between crouching light kick and crouching light punch, light SPD. The don'ts. Oh baby, the don'ts. Abusing these buttons in no particular order. Knee, the medium kick, well. These buttons usually get Zangief players killed. They either go for way too many standing medium kicks, maybe they got used to the Season 2 standing medium kick, now this is basically the Season 1 range, so they get used to poking people with this and whiffing all the time. You're whiffing for 19 frames. Even though the hurt box is really good, they can sweep you, they can drive rush you, they can use supers. You're whiffing for 19 frames. Be careful. Same with this thing. Technically, you're whiffing for 13 frames, but the startup, the active frames, it's very easy to recognize. So they can sweep you. They will punch you. In wheel kick, if you use it like a madman and try to be close with them, they can use a crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick, and really throw you into a world of hurt. So that is not the use of those buttons. Those buttons are not made to be abused. In fact, I would say even the thing with Zangief is that he's very limited. So you don't want to open yourself up for something you cannot whiff punish. So, what do I mean by that? Lights. That's why you use so many lights with Zangief, because these ones are safer than other things he has. That doesn't mean you don't have to use standing medium punch, as I said. Don't abuse your buttons, specifically your slower ones. Or if you're gonna abuse them, you make sure your opponent is not reacting to them. Charge heavy punch. Even though this is a plus frame situation for Zangief, +3, this is so easy to punish. Just don't use it, or if you're gonna use it again, make sure the opponent is not reacting. They can sweep, they can super, they can forward jump, they can even forward grab you. So be careful. Get used to charging it slightly instead of charging it fully, or just tap it. It's gonna make a huge difference. People who SPD all the time, this is generally a bad idea. They always want to SPD, like they want to drive rush SPD. They want to hit someone with light SPD, or medium punch SPD. That is a bad idea. Because SPD, even though you deal a huge amount of damage, specifically with the OD and heavy versions, your Oki is absolutely horrendous. So you're gonna drive rush afterwards. If the opponent is ready, they're gonna be perfect parrying or crouching medium punch all of your options, or even DI. So be extremely careful. You want to use SPD because you have to. The pressure of getting a spine buster is far greater, even though you're dealing less damage. SPD is for punishing something with a huge amount of damage, like you block a drive reversal and they're -6. You go for the OD SPD. That's a lot of damage. That's how you want to use it. But otherwise, the pressure damage you get from just poking or Spine Buster is so significant, even though it is way less damage. This is for ending rounds, for establishing presence, for letting them know you want to SPD more than the SPD itself. Again, the fear of SPD is far greater than the SPD itself. Ending combos with regular Lariat. I know sometimes you don't want to use OD Lariat because you don't have the meter, and I understand that, but if you have the meter, absolutely go for OD Lariat. You're gonna recover the meter. I recovered half of a meter by that headbutt, and that is a plus 10 headbutt. That means I do have a guaranteed follow-up. I almost recovered 1 meter, the meter I use for Dry Brush. If I get the hit, that is basically a free Dry Brush. So don't be that scared to go for the Dry Brush after the OD Lariat. However, that is in the middle of the screen. You're close to the corner, or you are in the corner like now, go for regular Lariat. You don't have to use OD here. In the middle of the screen, almost always go for OD Lariat Dry Brush. Being overly aggressive. This is something I've seen a lot of Zangief players do. First of all, the Dry Brush. This is fine, but Dry Brush for Zangief is so insignificant because people can just dry reversal. Every single Dry Brush, they can dry reversal, even the gapless ones. This one that has no gaps, or this one, even those they can dry reversal. And there's nothing you can do. You just take the dry reversal. Same with this one. So the dry reversal on block is something you have to be very careful about. You want to use this because sometimes you have to. You have to sometimes take the turn back with an SPD even, or a Spine Buster. You are forced in some situations to do that, but don't overly go for the aggressiveness. Zangief is not really good at being aggressive. You're gonna basically burn out yourself. Let's say you go for SPD or you go for Super Level 3. You connected that move, and now you want to Dry Brush. I've seen people do this. You're in Burnout in less than a second, 2 seconds, and then you can lose the round. Dry Brush is something you have to be very careful with Zangief. If you're not getting a counter hit or a punish counter, be careful with the Dry Brush. You're wasting 3 meters if you do it on hit or on block. You have to expect, with that much meter spent, you want to get something out of that situation. If the opponent is just blocking, then don't do it again. You're wasting your meter. Go for a grab, keep poking. Get them to Burnout. And generally whiffing buttons. This is something I've seen, again, a lot of Zangief players. They don't know how to space themselves, so they go for random sweeps, random standing medium punches, random medium kicks. Let me tell you, Zangief has a lot of recovery frames. So if you want to whiff something, use crouching light punch. Don't go crazy with standing medium kick, crouching medium kick. You're giving away frames. In this game, with so many fast Dry Brushes, with so many crazy stuff like bites on scissors, you don't want to be whiffing. Get in a position where whiffing is somewhat less of a risk. Like something here after 2 lights, rarely you're gonna whiff something there. You're too close to whiff. So yeah, be careful, because even full screen you can get some punishes. Like imagine you're whiffing your standing medium punch or I don't know, your sweep. Naki goes for the Super Level 2. There's nothing you can do. I as always, even though I wrote some things, and as I was developing the video, I realized I had to talk about other things. I feel this is mostly what you need to know about Zangief. Generally speaking, Zangief is a defensive character. Almost everything works more as a defensive tool rather than an offensive one. You can make and convert some buttons to be offensive, like standing medium punch or even knee sometimes. Generally, the idea of Zangief is to wait for the opponent to do something, they whiff, and then you respond. That is how more or less you play the character. You can get crazy, but only when the opponent allows you to do so. And no one wants to be close to Zangief. Not even another Zangief. So you have to expect they want to jump, they want to backdash, they want to mash buttons. You have to expect. And since you have to guess yourself what kind of thing, what kind of situation they want to go for, my general recommendation is for you to wait at least the first few interactions. If you get the plus 4, wait, don't go for SPD right away or Spine Buster. See what they want to do. Also, I've seen a lot of people parrying, going for crazy parries all the time. With Zangief, you want to parry defensively. As always, I mean, as every character in the game, I think. So parry your fireballs. Ideally, you want to perfect parry and then start walking or dashing. If they're going for a string, like 3 lights, parry between the lights, because you don't have good tools defensively. Your super level 2 is not really good for being a defensive tool. Your super level 3, arguably you can use it. Mostly your defensive tools are crouching light kick, which sucks. Perfect parry, which can give you something really decent. Either SPD, spine buster, or in some cases crouching heavy punch. Another defensive option you have is wake up with dry reversal. The issue with the wake up dry reversal is how easy it is to bait. You can bait it, you can neutral jump it, which is also an issue. You can't rely fully on that. What it beats are throws and middies. Well, midi throws too. Basically, midi throws, regular throws, or any throw, middies, midi DIs, everything that hits you when you're waking up, dry reversal on wake up beats them. Exception of lights, which recover too fast, and super level 3. Those are just defensive options. So you have to get used to parrying on defense. Don't try to parry all the time. Parry on defense when the opponent is showing you they want to abuse something that could be parried. Parry your safe jumps. Also, parry safe jumps. Be careful with Zangief. It is a fun character. He has more tools, that is for sure. We can debate how strong or weak he is, but this is mostly to tell people how you have to play Zangief in 2024. This was a long one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you really liked it, please subscribe. If you have a new Zangief player over there that you want to show something in order to get enamored with the character, please use this video. They might get something out of it. Take care. I hope you had a great week. I don't know when I'm releasing this. It's gonna take like a bunch to edit. Take care, have fun, keep playing grapplers, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.